The top 5 books every entrepreneur should read if they don't want to fail. Jim Rohn famously said, "The difference between where you are today and where you'll be in 5 years from now will be found in the quality of the books that you read." My name is Chris Rodriguez. I've founded and exited a company, and I currently am the CEO of Grow Pro Agency, a multi-7-figure digital marketing agency. These 5 books ultimately laid the foundation of my entrepreneurial journey and are what I consider absolute non-negotiables for every entrepreneur. Let's dive in. We Do the Work is dedicated to those who believe in the tenacious pursuit of their dreams. In a world where we aim to turn ceilings into floors, we dive deep into the essence of health, wealth, and relationships, uncovering that true fulfillment lies not in our achievements, but in the journey of us doing the work. Book number 1 is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I believe this is the very first book that every entrepreneur should read. In fact, I was getting a spray tan at a local shop about a month ago, and I noticed that the owner was the one that answered the phone, that booked the appointment, that was the one giving me the spray tan, and she was the one that charged my credit card. And you could tell she was literally owning a glorified job. I recommended this book to her. She read it, and she reached out and told me it completely changed the way that she looks and operates her business. Let's go over 3 takeaways from The E-Myth Revisited. Takeaway number 1, work on your business, not just in your business. Entrepreneurs often get caught up in the day-to-day aspects of running a business. And when you're first getting started, when you're first launching your business, this is definitely going to be the case. But as you continue to grow, you have to focus on building the systems and processes inside of the business so it can ultimately run independently from you. The second major takeaway of the book is what Michael Gerber calls the franchise prototype. Even if you never think that you're going to franchise your business, you want to build it with the mindset that you are. And this means everything that you do gets turned into an SOP or a playbook. This mindset of creating replicable processes are going to ensure consistency when you are no longer the one that is in the weeds doing the work. I actually had a Post-it note that I put below the computer screen monitor in my office that said, "Do not repeat yourself." And the reason why I put that Post-it note there was it was a reminder that if I was doing anything, any type of work that I had not created a playbook for, that was my reminder to create the playbook so I wouldn't have to repeat myself in the future if I ever wanted to delegate it. Takeaway number 3 is that there are 3 key roles in every business. There's the technician, there's the manager, and there's the entrepreneur. And what most entrepreneurs struggle with is ever making the leap from technician to manager and then manager to entrepreneur. This is why you see so many great people at their craft, at their hobby, at their passion, and they try and turn it into a business and it never gets off the ground because they are stuck in the technician mode. And you have to be able to transition from technician to manager to entrepreneur if you ever truly want to scale. The E-Myth Revisited, number 1 book on the list for entrepreneurs to read. Book number 2 is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. This was a book that had the absolute most profound effect on my own personal habits. And if you understand this concept, you will be able to unlock what I believe is the number 1 skill that entrepreneurs need to be successful, and that is consistency. So key takeaway number 1 is the compound effect formula. And what the formula says is small, smart choices done consistently over time will yield drastic results. And as an entrepreneur, one of the things that you have to remember is that it is going to take week after week, month after month, year after year for you to be able to see those results. But if you're consistent with them, it will ultimately pay off. Key takeaway number 2 from the book is the importance of tracking. Look, if there's any area in your life that you want to improve, you have got to track it. If you want to lose weight, you got to step on the scale. If you want to be better at budgeting your money, you got to track where your expenses are. If you want to be more productive, you need to track where your time is going. If there's anything in your life that you want to improve, you've got to track it. And Darren does a great job breaking down and giving examples of how you can do that. When we track these daily behaviors, what it's going to allow us to do is see patterns. And based off of those patterns, that's going to tell us what level of success or level of not success that we will ultimately have. Tracking is also really going to help you stay accountable. Takeaway number 3 from the compound effect was all about building momentum. When we make those small, smart decisions and when we are consistent, day after day, week after week, month after month, you will start to see those results. And those results are you being in momentum, but you're only going to be able to see them if you are consistent. So if you are personally struggling with personal day-to-day habits, if you are struggling with staying consistent, if you are struggling with getting the job done, this should be the next book on your list. Book number 3 is Traction by Gino Wickman. This book completely changed the way that we operate our business. Most businesses have communication systems with how they communicate with their prospects and with their customers. But what most businesses lack are how they communicate internally with their team. And this book, I believe, gives you the absolute best roadmap for building a communication system internally. Key takeaway number 1 from Traction is EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And Wickman introduces EOS in his book Traction and breaks down the 6 categories that you need to consider in terms of operating your business. And when you do this, it allows you to clarify and share the vision of the business with everybody on the team. And when you share that vision and you do it consistently, you get all of your people rowing in the same direction. Key takeaway number 2 is called the Vision Traction Organizer, also known as the VTO. And the VTO is a 2-page document that breaks down who the company is, where the company's at, where the company is going, and how they are going to get there. It's literally the roadmap that your team members can follow to help you achieve the goals that you have set out. This is incredibly impactful with also hiring and onboarding new team members, because on day 1, that team member will know exactly where the company's at, where they want to go, and how they're going to get there. Key takeaway number 3 from the book Traction was all about meetings. You either love meetings, you hate meetings, and if you hate meetings, it's probably because you're not doing them right. The book Traction breaks down what EOS calls the Level 10 meeting, and it's a very specific structure and way of operating a meeting. And I have used many different agendas in my companies for meetings and truly believe the Level 10 structure is the absolute best structure for a meeting. I honestly believe that if it wasn't for the book Traction, that our company would not be on its way to $4 million in revenue right now. That's how powerful the EOS system is. Book number 4 is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And this book is really going to help you get your finances in order. And what I love about it is it's not some boring finance book or math book. Mike does a great job of taking complex concepts and breaking it down into digestible pieces. Top takeaway number 1 is understanding that you've got to prioritize your profit. In most traditional companies, what they do is they take their revenue, they subtract the expenses, and whatever is left over is your profit. And when you do it that way, it's often not a lot of profit. Profit First suggests that you take your revenue, you subtract the profit that you want to pull out of the business, and what you have left over are the expenses. And when you do this, it ensures that you are profitable from day one. Key takeaway number 2 are bank account allocations. Most businesses have 1 or 2 bank accounts, a checking and a savings. What Profit First teaches you is to have 5 different bank accounts, and each one of those accounts serves a different purpose. You have an income account, a profit account, an owner's compensation account, a taxes account, and an operational expense account. And when you break it down that way, it'll help you to make better financial decisions and also prevent overspending. Key takeaway number 3 from Profits First is all about expense management. When you are focusing on profitability, it forces you to operate more efficiently and ultimately cut unnecessary expenses. This book helped me implement day-to-day and weekly habits to ensure that we were staying profitable and that we were cutting all of the unnecessary expenses in the company. As an entrepreneur, you typically pay yourself last. In this book, Profits First, it's going to teach you how to pay yourself first. Book number 5 is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I am blessed to call Dan a mentor, and being a part of his multi-coaching programs that he has, I've been able to get a front seat to his genius. And Buy Back Your Time is definitely a book every entrepreneur needs to read. Key takeaway number 1 is understanding that time is money. Most entrepreneurs spend their time in order to make money. Dan challenges that mindset and tells you you should be spending your money to buy back your time. And when you truly understand the value of your own time, it will allow you to start delegating and outsourcing tasks that are not worth your effective hourly rate. Unfortunately, most entrepreneurs are stuck day to day doing tasks that they could easily delegate or outsource for anywhere between $10 and $20 an hour. We ultimately should be spending our money so that we can buy back time so we can focus on higher leveraged activities. Key takeaway number 2 is Dan's replacement ladder. Dan literally gives you a step-by-step guide on where to start when it's time to start hiring, delegating, and outsourcing. We all get 24 hours in a day, so how is it that some people seem to get so much more done? It's because they know how to delegate and outsource. If you can start replacing yourself in certain aspects of your business, it's going to allow you to focus on the things that you really love to do and that truly lights you up. And this is so important because one of the worst things that can happen to you as an entrepreneur is you wake up and you realize you built a business that you hate. You're only going to hate it if you're spending time on the things you don't like to do. So Dan gives you a step-by-step guide with his replacement ladder on how to replace yourself in specific areas of your company. Key takeaway number 3 is the preloaded year. This has been a game changer for me. And what's really cool is you get access to the preloaded year document when you purchase the book. When you can reverse engineer what you want your entire year to look look like so that everything that's on the calendar aligns with not just your professional goals, but your personal goals. You'll end up building your ideal year. Once you build your preloaded year, the next step is to build in non-negotiable time blocks for the things that are most important, such as your family, your health, and strategic planning. And when you put these non-negotiable time blocks in your day-to-day calendar, you're going to make sure that they remain a priority through the entire year. One of my favorite exercises to do at the beginning of every year is the preloaded year document. It's something that my wife and I both do together to make sure that the most important things get scheduled first, and then everything else can get filled in later. So there you have it. Those are the 5 books every entrepreneur should read to ensure that they do not fail. You've got the E-Myth Revisited. You've got the Compound Effect. We've got Traction, Profits First, and Buy Back Your Time. Look, the decisions that you made 3 to 5 years ago are determining what your life looks like right now. So the decisions that you make today are going to determine what your life looks like 3 to 5 years from now. As an entrepreneur, you have to have a thirst for continuous learning and continuous growth. And my challenge to you is to read these 5 books to make sure you do not fail. Let me know in the comments which book you are going to read next, and then stick around and check out my next video, Cracking the Productivity Code.